Is Italy safe for solo female travellers? I'm spending 24 hours in Genoa and Milan, and I'm going to show you exactly what it's like. Today I'm at Levanto. I've just spent the night in a gorgeous Italian farmhouse right in the countryside. It was really non-touristic, really stunning. And now I'm about to board a train at Levanto station that will take me to Genoa. I've got a few hours in Genoa and then I'm boarding another train to take me to Milan. And I've got a few hours in Milan before I need to go to sleep for a very early flight tomorrow morning. So I'm going to take you with me and just explain what it is like to be a solo female traveller in Italy. Touchdown, Genoa. I got off the train and I was bursting for the toilet. Couldn't find one actually in the station, but there is one in KFC just by the station, which is good to know. If you're taking trains in Italy, Trainline is actually a really good app to buy your tickets on. So it does cost slightly more than buying them on the Trenitalia app, but it does mean you can have them all in one place, and a lot of people already use Trainline and have their details saved in it, etc. So I tend to just use Trainline. Trains in Italy are very affordable. So I just took the 1 hour train from Levanto to Genoa, and now I'm going to have a little walk around Genoa. I have a couple of places saved on my Google Maps. One is coffee and the other is pesto pasta. So those are the two things I want to tick off in Genoa. But I'll also have a little walk around the city centre and see some of the architecture as well. I was just walking down this road and I discovered Starbucks. Did not know they had Starbucks in Italy. So if anyone knows, can you let me know how many Starbucks there are in Italy, and do people actually go to them? Because in my opinion it is not good coffee and it is very Americanized coffee. It just seems very at odds. Anyway, I actually am in the search of coffee, but not Starbucks. I'm going to a specialty coffee shop that is about a 10-minute walk from here. Am I the only person who did not know that Christopher Columbus was actually from Genoa? I always thought he was Spanish. I guess he went on sort of Spanish missions, but he was very much from the Republic of Genoa, now Italy. And just in front of me is where he lived. I've just come to the Piazza Raffaele de Ferrari, which is the main piazza in Genoa. Standard Italian piazza vibe. Beautiful architecture. This is obviously all Genoese architecture, which is famous throughout this area of Europe. Anyway, gotta keep going. I need a coffee. And behind me is the Cattedrale de San Lorenzo, which is the main cathedral of Genoa city. It is free to enter, so I'm gonna have a little look around. Apparently there are some amazing frescoes inside, and it dates back to the 1100s. This was needed. There are not many places in Italy in general where you can get oat milk for your cappuccinos, and I know this is probably sacrilege, but I do not like or drink dairy milk, so this is what I'm having. It's also 12:12, which is also probably sacrilege to ask for a cappuccino, but they didn't seem to mind. This was Taze Paze specialty coffee, and it's very good. Don't go to Starbucks, go here if you're in Genoa. And it only cost me €2. One thing that you do have to get a bit accustomed to in Italy is the fact that you will get a little bit lost when you're walking around. The old towns, the alleyways are really winding, and even with Google Maps you can so easily miss your turning. But I think I've got to the right place now. That lunch was bellissimo, and it only cost me like £6.70 for a glass of wine and a plate of pesto pasta. Pasta came out really quickly, so they must have pesto like made out the bag and just made the pesto and mix it all together, but it was so good. It's a really local feeling restaurant as well. It's like canteen style, proper trattoria, I think they're called. And yeah, it was great. The menu's only in Italian, I ordered in Italian. Fantastic, authentic experience. So I definitely recommend it if you are in Genoa. And I also wanted to say that pickpocketing is definitely an issue in Italy, just as it's an issue in London, Paris, Barcelona, all over the continent. However, my tripod did just fall out my bag without me realising, and someone did run to me to give it back to me. So just because pickpocketing can be an issue in some places, it doesn't mean you're going to be there and automatically be pickpocketed, but obviously it is important to be aware of your valuables. I always carry this around, which is a crossbody bag, and zip it up, and I keep all of my most valuable items in there. It's quite cool. Behind me is the entrance to a lit up, obviously, out to a viewpoint. I was gonna go and have a look, see if I could go on it, but unfortunately, it looks like it's cash only and I have spent all my cash. What's really interesting about Genoa is this city, which isn't a very well-known city these days. I mean, it's known, but it's definitely not among the most well-known in Italy, is that back in the medieval era, this was the heart of the Genoan Empire. And the Genoan Empire wasn't huge, but it had pockets all over Europe. So they were in charge of Corsica, which I was in a few days ago, so I saw lots of Genoan architecture there. And they also had part of Istanbul, they had part of Cyprus, so they spread themselves around quite a lot. And it was all administered from here. And yeah, like I say, now it's a fairly quiet city compared to others in Europe, but it has this fascinating amount of history. And I guess it's always been the sea that's caused it to expand, like it was a maritime empire. So it's its position on the sea that has enabled it to do so. And to this day, it's still a very known port city in Italy, so life has always revolved around the sea here. If you've not watched my other videos, I actually arrived in Genoa yesterday by boat. I took a ferry from Corsica, which was also Genoan, to here, and then I headed straight down to the Cinque Terre yesterday, so this is my first chance actually to walk around the city. Got a train in about 40 minutes. I should probably look at the exact time actually and double check. So I'm currently sort of taking the longer, more weaving route to the station and seeing if I see anything on the way. This is seriously so cool. So you've got these buildings here, and they date back maybe to the, I don't know, 18th, 19th century. But then you've got this gate behind me, and that dates back to the 12th century. It was one of the old gates to get into the old city, and it's still used to this day. Honestly, only in Italy. Now I'm back at the main Genova station. Had a nice few hours walking around Genova. I'm glad I stopped here. I was originally thinking of just going straight to Milan, but I decided I may as well see a bit of Genova as well, because I won't have time to see the whole of Milan anyway. I figured I'll do a walk around both cities and compare them. It felt super safe. I didn't have any issues walking around as a solo traveller. I did have one man say ciao to me, a little bit creepily. And before anyone comes at me in the comments, I've been travelling long enough to know when people are being friendly and when people are being creepy. But that happens literally all the time in London, so I'm used to it. But that was literally the only thing, like he just said that and I walked past and he walked past. It wasn't like anything major. So I'm just waiting for my train now. It is 15 minutes delayed, so we'll be another 10 minutes or so, and then got about an hour and a half on the train, and then I'll be in Milano. An hour and a half later, and my delayed train has made it to Milano, and it's grey and raining. This is completely different weather to Genoa. It was really sunny there. The train was absolutely fine. Someone was sitting in my seat, so I did have to ask them to move, and they actually refused to and said I could sit behind, and I said, well, I've booked this table, I've booked a table seat. So actually one of the other guys ended up sitting behind, but I needed a table to do my work, so I was not backing down. I did not realise how big Milan was. The one thing I really want to do is just see the Duomo. I mean, I feel like that is something that you have to do when you're in Milan, so I'm gonna get the metro, I think, go and see the Duomo. Like I say, it is raining, and I will probably try and find somewhere to eat around 6, because I have actually changed my bus to a 7:40 bus to take me to the airport. So let's go get the metro and then we'll check back in. It can be a bit overwhelming when you arrive somewhere, like in a new city for the first time, but let me tell you, Google Maps is your best friend. So I always use it to tell me the public transport route. Okay, so it's this way, let's go. The metro was super easy. I went to go to the machine to buy a ticket, and then there was a huge queue, but I actually saw a sign saying don't wait in the queue, just use contactless, so I just used Google Pay, and it cost me €2 or so. And just behind me is the Milano Duomo. I'm not going to go inside, but I'm going to have a little look actually at it a little bit closer. The Milan Duomo is really well known because of how striking it is. It's home to thousands of statues and hundreds of gargoyles. But a really interesting fact about the Duomo is that even though it was started to be built in the 14th century, it actually wasn't finished until 1965. That's after my parents were born. Loads of tombs have been founded in the basement as well. Loads of notable characters who called Milan home over the years were laid to rest here. And just behind me we've got Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II. This dates back to the mid-19th century and it's actually thought to be one of the first shopping malls in the world. It was originally a place where the Milanese bourgeois used to hang out. In fact, it actually used to be called the drawing room of Milan. Nowadays it's more of a tourist attraction. Let's go and have a look inside. Right, I've got about 2.25 hours till I need to be back at the station to get my bus. I am going to go to eat now. I'm not particularly hugely hungry yet, but I'm thinking A, if I eat now it means I'll avoid the crowd. It's about 5:30, and B, it means I'm not rushing in case it takes longer than anticipated, because things always do. Didn't have much luck with that. So it says on Google that that restaurant is open all day. However, it turns out it is open all day, but they only serve food, as in dinner, from 7. So I wasn't able to go there, unfortunately, but may have been a good thing because I just did a little bit more Googling and I found somewhere close to the station, which is where I need to get my bus to the airport from, that serves what many reviewers say to be the best pizza they've ever had. It also says it's open all day. I've checked their website, doesn't say anything about dinner starting, and then I checked Deliveroo and it said opens at 6:15. So that is in half an hour. It's also a half-hour walk. So I'm going to walk there, see what I can see en route, and hopefully by the time I get there it will be open. I am also in the fashion city of Milan wearing not exactly the most fashionable outfit, so I hope they will let me in. Take a look at this pizza. I've not had a decent pizza actually in Italy yet. I had one in France the other day. Give this a go. Now let me tell you, today has been a top tier eating day. That pesto pasta earlier and that pizza was just absolutely bellissimo. Did have a glass of Pinot Grigio as well, which was very, very nice. I wasn't going to, but then I thought it's my last day on the continent and I definitely do not drink anywhere close to what I've been drinking the last week at home, but when in Milan, eh? So one small safety tip from dinner, I was told by the waitress to not put my bag on the outside of my table, which I should have thought of really. I kind of put it there as I was sitting down and she said no, move it round to the other side because people could grab it and run off, and I'm guessing by the fact that she told me that it does happen. However, this is petty crime. It's obviously bad. If it happens to you, it's obviously bad, but it's obviously not as bad as a lot of crimes. So in general, I would say that I have felt very safe on my day in Italy. I did have that one man be like ciao to me a bit weirdly, but that has happened to me on much more of a scale in Paris, Vienna and London, where I grew up. This is obviously only a snapshot of my one day in Italy, but I have been alone in Italy before and have found the same. If you keep your wits about you, if you follow sensible precautions, obviously things can always happen anywhere in the world, but it's hugely likely that you will be safe when traveling Italy. If you're sticking around, then take a look at this video that I made yesterday. It's all about exploring the 5 Cinque Terre towns in a day and whether it is really an Italian hidden gem. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it and I hope I will see you next time. Bye!